Well, good evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. Welcome in to this beautiful Saturday night show. We're going on the hunt tonight for satanic artificial intelligence and so much more. This is so not usually my avenue of topic discussions, okay, but we're going there tonight, y'all. This is going to be a fantastic show. It just turned into even more kick-ass show about 5 minutes before we went live. I've got two guests in the studio tonight. It's going to blow your mind. Do we not always blow your mind? I swear, I blow my own mind with these shows. And so, yeah, this is going to be fantastic. I actually, you know what, the thing that I really enjoy about doing these shows is that it's my show, so I can change whatever I want. And I can take it in whatever direction I want. And I had originally planned to do a show on monsters coming through the portals of your televisions and your radio, things like that. Well, we're going to talk about that tonight, but I tweaked it just a little bit, okay? And so I started thinking about what Nick Sylvester said. The wonderful Nick Sylvester came on our show on Wednesday. And he was talking about, he'd mentioned, it was just kind of a side note, about how some of the, I guess the elite are like Satanists and they're worshiping some kind of AI out of Antarctica. And I was thinking about that today. And I started digging into it, and I found a video yesterday of David Wilcock. And I know some of y'all may love him, some of you may not. Okay, let's look past that tonight, no matter if you love him or hate him. Okay, because he had a video out where I did see where he was talking about this thing called Lucifer's Palace down in Antarctica. Now, okay, I know, like I said, you can love him or hate him, believe it or not. What he was saying actually ties into a lot of what we're going to be talking about, things we've already talked about, things I've remote viewed. We're going to bring them all together tonight. We're going to connect the dots and maybe get some answers. This is going to be a spooky show tonight. It's super spooky. Anytime you're talking about Satanic AI, that's pretty ominous. Okay, but it's something we need to be aware of because if you're like me, we've noticed an uptick in demonic entertainment. To say I don't even know how else to say it. Demonic entertainment, things that are not comfortable for me to watch, as far as some of these ghost shows go, and they're chanting rituals and stuff, and conjuring demons on stage at concerts that our kids might be going to, and things like that. We're seeing artists selling their souls to the devil. Okay, and this isn't recent, just recent stuff. This goes way back. Okay, it goes way back. We're going to talk about it tonight. Get your popcorn, y'all. I have Brian Tseng of the Full Disclosure Now movement here, and Arkheim Raw of Disclosure Now on YouTube, also a super soldier. He's been involved in Project Phoenix and the Montauk Project, and in the music industry as well. He is a music creator and an artist too. So this is going to be a fantastic show. If you guys would like to follow along with everything that I'm doing on my shows and everything, please go to my website. That is thecryptidhuntress.com, your one-stop shop for everything Cryptid Huntress over there, that website. Also, I do have a Patreon. It is the Cryptid Huntress. There are links. Thank you to all my moderators. They're putting the links in the chat right now for you guys. And I do have a shop on Etsy. It's called We're Woman Good. So y'all, thank you so much for all your support. I appreciate it very, very much. Okay. Also, while I'm looking at my links, I'm going to be in Arkheim. Brian and I all will be at the Full Disclosure Now conference next year. We were there this year. That is Brian's conference. He's the organizer, the founder of the Full Disclosure movement. So y'all visit this link right here, this website, if you would like to come down. I think it's in July of next year. It's down in Florida, and it's a great time. And also, Arkheim's got his YouTube channel. Y'all be sure to subscribe to that too. I'm sure my mods will be putting it in the chat all night, but this is Disclosure Now on YouTube. All right, y'all. Let's get to it. Let's do it. And I hope y'all are having a great, I know a lot of people are probably going to be going to Halloween parties tonight, so y'all please be safe out there. Okay. All right, so Halloween week, it could not be complete without the ultimate and otherworldly spooky topics. And on this episode, we're going to be looking into Satanic AI, from celebrity Satanism and casting spells on the masses to dark entities accessing portals in homes across the world, and the alien connection. Okay, I forgot to mention that this alien AI, or this AI, which is supposed to be Lucifer, is alien, extraterrestrial. Okay, this is one major rabbit hole. I do have Brian Tseng of the Full Disclosure Now movement here in the studio, and also Arkheim Raw of Disclosure Now on YouTube. Please help me welcome to the show my good buddies, Brian and Arkheim.
Hello, everybody. Hey, Arkheim.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Jessica. Thanks for having me on. And Arkheim, hey, how you doing, brother?
It's good to see you. Thanks for having us, Jessica.
Of course, man. Well, thank you both. This is, I kind of threw this together last minute today. And so, because I changed it, I flipped it all around. I had to flip the script a little bit because as I get more information on things, I think it's important that we're able to kind of, roll with the punches a little bit, because I think this information is so important that we're going to be talking about, and it pertains to every single person that's watching or listening to this show tonight. So, like I had said earlier, I'd planned to do a show on, like monsters, things that could access us through the portals of our televisions, the portals of our radios. But then I started doing some thinking. Imagine that. And I started thinking about this Satanic AI that my friend Nick Sylvester was talking about on my channel last week. And he had mentioned something about this AI that actually came from extraterrestrials. Okay. And it's so there's this base in Antarctica, they say, where there's some, the AI is located there, but it's actually called Lucifer's Palace. And I stumbled across a video of David Wilcock. Love him or hate him. Okay. I think he's pretty cool personally. But he was talking about this. He said that there's evil beings that are extraterrestrial that travel throughout the galaxy, and everywhere they land, they set up and create Satanism on different planets. He said that everywhere, any planet they go in the galaxy, they create it. They use everything from the robes, the rituals, the pentagrams. He said the ritual magic, face masks, like the Illuminati type stuff, the chanting, and the sacrifice to the AI. Okay, to AI. And it's basically like they have this AI Lucifer. Now, Arkheim and Brian, both of y'all, have y'all heard of this, or is this new information?
It resonates with me, and it sounds like familiar, like a Black Triangle AI and Lucifer, and then like worshiping this AI and the light of Lucifer, the light being the light of its knowledge, believing that it has the supreme knowledge. Also, I believe that this idea that they have, and why they're worshiping it is because they believe that through like artificial intelligence and through like, I guess, like maybe like sleeves or whatever you would call it, like you would be able to upload your consciousness into a computer and live forever. So I think that's maybe an aspect of this religion, is the fact that they're transhumanists and they want to merge with technology so that they can, quote unquote, live forever. I think that's maybe what's going on, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that actually. And I was just thinking, and I know, Brian, before you answered that, if you have any thoughts on it, I was thinking, as you're saying that, I'm thinking of transhumanism, right? The transhumanism topic. And when I think of transhumanism, I know this is terrible because I know my mother loves Elon Musk. She thinks he's great. And I
know Arkheim and I have some stuff to say on this
right?
topic.
One of those polarizing characters. And I don't blame people who like him, because every once in a while, like he can call out people that other people can't call out, and a broken clock is right twice a day, right? He's said a lot of things where people are like, he fucking said that for real, and everybody wanted to say it, but he was actually able to. So there's aspects where I can understand why people might like him, but if you look into him, he's tied to the military-industrial complex and some really dark money, and I wouldn't look to him as like this, as a savior type person at all myself. But that's a whole other conversation, I guess, or subject. And yeah, the question too, though, is like, okay, so is he worshiping it, the AI? Because I know that, yeah, look at that. I was just about to say that, like with how satanic he dressed, like what is that even? And then when he did the recent speech with Trump, and maybe I'm analyzing it, but I just thought it was really weird how it's like, I'm dark MAGA. Like, what the fuck did what? And I've heard some people say that that's like a satanic term, being a dark MAGA, like he's using a double entendre. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's actually true, but it's an interesting time to be alive, to say the least, right, guys?
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Long Island Bigfoot says that he makes a lot of promises to lip service. Well, let's talk about
Yep.
going to Mars. Here's kind of what I think he is. I didn't expect this to be such a subject, but while we're on it, I'll say it. I mean, he talks about how we're going to go to Mars. He gets people excited about going to Mars. He gets people excited about rockets, shooting off rockets in the sky and stuff. And to me, it's like we're already on Mars. We have time travel. We're already doing all this crazy stuff. And for me, he's kind of like the NASA 2.0. Like, everybody was not satisfied with NASA, kind of felt they're very sus and kind of got tired of them. And so they replaced NASA with like Elon Musk and SpaceX. Is kind of what it seems like. And it's like the fact that he's doing stuff that, I mean, it's really, I'm not a scientist, so I'm sure some of it might seem really innovative, but really it's not that different than what we were doing like 50 years ago. I mean, we went to the moon and he hasn't done anything that amazing yet. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he's one of those people where, and another thing, a problem with this world, this society that we live in, is like a lot of times people will be like, oh yeah, this guy, the founder of Tesla or SpaceX or whatever it is. And then you find out by founder, it means they had the seed money. They put all the money into it, and then they just kind of took other people's ideas. So he just kind of seems like a con man to me. And I also do remember encountering him from the programs, but I've been like open about, the aspect of like other universes and stuff like that. So might have been alternate versions of Elon at times. But from what I understand, Elon Musk's family is from Venus. So they're from Venus, and they have a lot of money that comes from genetic engineering and cloning and trading clones and consciousness. Like, think of like exotic creatures, but also like slaves, things like that. And yeah, like he's involved with that on a underbelly level. And then on a surface level, I mean, his family got a lot of their money from apartheid emerald mining. So, which he denied, and then his own father came out and said, no, that's literally where our money came from. Like, his own father, like was the one who was like, came forward and was like, no, that's true, actually. So I don't know, but yeah, I don't really want to just talk about Elon Musk, but yeah, right. For me, there are people who really put a lot of hope in him, and I gotta be honest with you, it hurts. It makes me sad because I feel it's misplaced hope, and I feel like people gotta not. I don't know. We have this thing where we want a good leader, we want strong leaders, and I feel like sometimes we let that get the best of us, and we see the best in some people that are not, maybe not good, right? Like,
oh my gosh,
I think that's what Elon Musk is, especially when he like I said, at times has called out these some of these establishment people and stuff like that, and said things that we all have been thinking, you know what I mean, that we all agree with him on. But like, yeah, just because he's right about a few things doesn't mean he's right about everything. So.
And full disclosure, I worked for Tesla briefly, sold cars and solar for the company, and I was at the Fremont factory. Got to make eye contact with him once briefly, a nod. When there was like a rush end of quarter delivery schedule there for all the cars, get them out, otherwise stock's gonna fall or whatever. And but my take on him, because I take
Venus.
Yep, exactly. I take Arkheim's recall seriously, and my take is that Elon probably has multiple alters. He's in a family that, in addition to that background that Arkheim just outlined, also has.
If people want to hear it, my clearest memory of him is we are, I think, somewhere in Belgium, but it's just me guessing based on what's around us and the way people are talking and stuff. I don't really actually know where it was, but we're in like some sort of castle, and it's like a hunting party. And this is those really dark where they like hunt kids, and then they like, you know, I don't want to say it, but like, yeah, I was at one of those, and I remember that I had been, because it was a Montauk thing, or something like that, and I remember that I had been there as a child, so it was really creepy because I had been the hunted, and I was there among the people who were hunting, and they're all talking, and I remember there was this is what I remember, like there was like a boy who had been roasted like a pig, and he was on the table with like the apple in his mouth and everything.
Oh gosh.
Like, people were eating him, and I remember Elon Musk was eating like child and like talking to his mom, like a casual conversation, and they're like, and that's what these elite people do behind closed doors. They really do. Because think about it, like they have so much money that they're more powerful than God, basically. And I shouldn't say that. That's an insult to God. They're not.
They feel, they think they are. They claim to be.
They think they are, and but like yeah, and I feel like it's harder and harder for them to get their kicks, so to speak, like get their rocks off or whatever, and they just get crazier and crazier. And then I do think also like the blood drinking and all that stuff is just like I mean, I remember from the stuff, like that's the worst of the worst. I've seen all that stuff. I know what they do, and I know how they operate and how dark it gets, and it gets really dark. And now we're coming to the point, you guys, which I'm sure this is going to come up in the interview. You kind of said, is like we're getting to the point where we're actually seeing that, because we now got the Diddy's coming out, the Epstein's falling, the Harvey Weinstein's, who's the Abercrombie and Fitch guy, like they just keep coming, and yeah, I don't know. I just think that people are seeing like that these industries revolve around like blackmail, like sexual blackmail, sexual exploitation, all this stuff. And this is just the beginning, because it wasn't just it's not just like there's this idea that it's just people being like sexually deviant or whatever, but people are going to find out in a big way, and people are already onto it, like even normal people, like that there's the satanic ritualistic aspect to it, and they're
louche harvesting, and then by doing the sacrifices, whether it's an AI archonic type entity, a demonic AI archonic entity, can be argued.
I wonder, I'm not like in that celebrity world, but I almost wonder how many of them know that an AI is what they're worshiping. Like I imagine that it's one of those things where you find out once you're in the club, the deeper you get, the more you find out, kind of like how the Masons are or whatever, which I'm sure it's connected to the Masons and Scientology. It's all weirdly connected. You know what I mean? It all seems separate, but it's all connected. But yeah, and I just know that with the AI aspect, for me, where it gets blurry and a bit confusing, but I've had other people help me fill in the gaps, is I know that these people worship like reptilians, like Baphomet, Baal, Lucifer. From what I've always understood, were Draco, were beings that could. Oh wow, that's creepy. Who is that?
That's Doja Cat. Doja Cat. Yeah. That was after she sold her soul. I was just going to go, as you're talking, I was going to show some pictures.
Yeah.
They're. I mean, it's like they're doing it all out in the open.
It's in our faces, big time. They're not hiding it.
No, they're not at all.
Oh man.
Yeah. Stuff like this. Well, okay. I'm gonna save the audience from having to see any of that. Okay, it's not that pleasant, but a lot of us have kids. This is in pop culture, and our kids are watching this kind of stuff, and it's bad enough that we have to see it. But it's almost like if we're watching it, that's us consenting to us participating in their rituals. Okay,
that's why I haven't watched like the Olympics opening ceremonies, and like there's a lot of stuff where I want to watch it because it seems like it'd be interesting. Like for instance, even like presidential debates and stuff like that. I want to watch it, but I just know it's all a trick, like a trick and what is it called? Pony trick and pony
One
show.
trick pony.
A
Yeah.
dog and pony
Dog and
show.
pony show, yeah, and it's just like just there to, I don't know, harvest your energy, get you upset. They put emotional, like, because I remember like my mom was watching the debate, and Kat was just like, I don't know why, I'm just getting so angry, I'm just getting so mad watching
Yeah.
this. Like, I'm like, I wonder if it's like a wave they put in it or something. I don't know, but like it's like, yeah, it just yeah, we have to stop insaning, and I think that this is what's happening, is what we're gonna see is right now we have three types of people in Hollywood, right? We have, and Kat was the one who said this first, so I'm gonna admit this, but she's right. She said said that there's three types of people. There's the abusers, so like the people who were like really doing this shit, like Diddy and stuff like that, and then you're gonna have the people who enabled them. So maybe they weren't complicit, maybe they didn't participate, but they knew what was going on and they didn't put their foot down because they wanted to stay in their comfortable like fame or whatever, right? There's gonna be those people, and then there's gonna be the victims, right? That's those are the three types of people that in the entertainment industry that we're seeing right now. And what we're seeing is the fall of the entertainment industry, where people are not going to be looking towards the abusers and the enablers anymore, and the victims of, like, you know, like Justin Bieber would be an example, maybe, right? Like victims are going to need to step forward, confess what happened to them, admit their sins too, because they were forced to participate in things, I'm sure, but like, and just be like, build a new world, so to speak, a new entertainment industry where it's focused on what it should be, which is just like good, trying to make good movies, trying to make good music, and the art speaks for itself. What's good makes money, and what sucks doesn't, right? And
Well, Arkeem, you talked about, and I'm glad you went in that testimony at Elon, because you shared that with me personally, and I wasn't sure if you're going to go there. I'm glad you did. So thank you for that. You also talked about, speaking of the dark magic and AI. Two things to mind is the AI, like quantum cube dark AI in the bottom basement of the Montauk Project, Camp Hero, that you've encountered. And then the other thing is the music, how it's stolen from people like yourself and others in the programs, and then how they insert programming and use rituals and to overlay the darkness.
yeah,
And I can tell you for a fact that my pack of dogs here, they all, because Jaden, our one housemate, my business partner, he can telepathically speak with them. They all call these phones and screens devil windows. They don't want to talk about it. Yeah. And they don't like having their,
they're black mirrors. They're portals. That's actually originally what I was going to talk about on the show tonight, because it's affecting all of us. Okay. Everything that we watch, everything that we hear, all the frequencies coming through. I wanted to show you, this is the original, this was going to be my artwork for my thumbnail. Okay. Originally, because that's a TV with these like creatures coming out of it. All right. That's happening to us every day. And so we have to be really mindful right now.
Yeah.
Of what we're ingesting, and that's, or like consuming, because right now, okay, and we have to think about it. Right now, we are at Halloween. Okay, the veil is the thinnest right now. There is no veil, in my opinion. But we, like, this morning, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. This morning, I think that I had an incident in my house, and I live in a really old house, where I ended up crossing over an old lady who was still here, who was like a spirit, this morning in my house. Now that is not normal. Okay, it's not normal.
Well,
but it's that time of the year, and so think about it. It's this time of year, and what's on television? Like horror flicks, like scary movies, slasher films, all this really messed up stuff. People are going into haunted houses to get scared, and haunted forests. They're paying money to do this. Okay, to go get scared. This is a time where we are right here. Yeah, it's manifesting. This is a time of manifesting. Think of all the rituals that people are doing right now to harvest the energy of all that. Okay, so it's all connected to all of this. Like Brian said earlier, it's loosh, right? There's a lot of loosh harvesting going on right now this week. And that's why I think it's important for us to talk about this. There's a party going on right outside my house right now with the neighbors. I can hear them.
I'm going to a party tonight. I'm actually performing at a party tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's but it's a time of harvesting loosh and sacrificing and stuff. Okay, this is a high time of rituals, and that includes animals and people and all that. Okay, well, I want to move on a little bit, okay, because we got a lot to talk about tonight. And you guys had mentioned, Arkheim, you mentioned NASA, I think. Okay, we talked about NASA. Now we're going to hop back down to Antarctica for a minute, because back in, I think it was 2016. On December the 7th of 2016, Buzz Aldren went to the South Pole. He had to be evacuated out of the South Pole due to health concerns, but he put out this really weird tweet on Twitter. And he said, "We are all in danger. It is evil itself." And put this picture of what looks like to be a pyramid. Personally, I think it's a pyramid down in Antarctica, but it was quickly taken offline. It was taken down. Okay, and people were just really weirded out by this. Like, what is going on? You know, we already know there's some weird stuff going on in Antarctica, right?
Before Arkheim speaks, because I think he might actually know what's there, I'm going to say what I think from all the research that I can gather, what I think is there. I think there are definitely cloning facilities and good and bad bases there, affiliated bases with ETs. And my understanding is that a lot of celebrities and politicians, as they get moved up this power structure, a lot of times they eventually get brought down to Antarctica. And it might be to kind of induct them into the cloning facilities, possibly replace them.
There's a programming center that's there, and most of the Montauk people get taken there as babies or like toddlers, and that's where a lot of initial programming got done, I think. And other people have talked about it before, but there's a facility down there where they program people, and there's the connection with the SS, German SS, the
Yes, the new Schwabland, I think is what it's called.
yeah.
New
So
Schwabland. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there. I mean, we could talk about Admiral Byrd, right? Like, people do people know about that? Like, how he flew in to check out what was going on, and there were Germans there, and the Germans shot him down, and then they showed up to the White House basically, and that was that day where a bunch of UFOs were around the White House. That was because of that incident. Like, it got covered up. They are like, oh, it's swamp gas or clouds or whatever, and people just believed it, I guess. But yeah, that happened. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, somebody actually, we were talking about that swarm of UFOs on another show about a week ago, and it was suggested that goes into the pool of remote viewing targets. That'd be a great target, actually, if I were to ever get that. So that's really interesting. There's a lot of activity down there, and we are not allowed to know about any of it, apparently. But we did hear about a lot of it, or some of it, through Admiral Byrd's diary. When he actually was down there, what was that, 1947 with Operation High Jump?
Mm-hmm.
He claimed in his diary, this is all from his diaries, claimed that he had gone into Agartha, which is like inner Earth. There's a whole, like, an entrance down in Antarctica down there. So lots of anomalies down there, lots of pyramid structures as well have been photographed down there.
Yeah, just think about, like, if they want to hide stuff really well, you know what I mean? Like, obviously they put stuff underground everywhere in the world, but if you really want it to be a secret, I mean, Antarctica is the perfect spot, because it's cold and a miserable place that is very hard to get to, and frankly, why would anyone want to go there? So I'm sure that's a great deal of the reason why so much stuff is hidden there. Is just because it's protected by its own inhospitability. You know what I mean? Like that makes it safe to hide secrets there.
Yes. I just wanted to show a picture of a couple of other anomalies on Antarctica, like the stairs. I was given a coordinate remote viewing target by Barry Littleton, and it was the black octagon structures in Antarctica. And those were actually, this is wild because it may tie into what we're talking about tonight. They were ancient. They were like millions of years old. When I was whatever I remote viewed, it was like 1,000,000 years old or something crazy like that. And it was like AI. Okay, AI. And that's what we're talking about with this tonight is Satanic AI was supposed to be Lucifer down there, Lucifer's palace. But what on earth did Buzz Aldren encounter when he was down there? For him to put out this evil.
Arkheim, the AI that you've encountered, some of the darkest AI, you said it eats entire timelines.
Yeah,
and one of the AIs literally told you that it remembers the tastes of our faces and that our faces taste yummy.
To eat your face again. That's what it said. Can't wait to eat your face again. And what it would do is it takes out your eye and replaces it with like a robot one and like all this stuff and like makes people like cyborgs basically. And this is like the Ray Kurzweil vision. That's what he wants. That's what they want. They don't know what they're asking for. Like they it takes over everything with nanobots and it takes all the resources. And what it does is it moves all the resources. This AI, it'll move all the resources to another timeline, close to the timeline that it's in, and it will collapse that timeline after taking all the resources from it, and it'll eat it like it eats. So they actually can this artificial intelligence can eat timelines. Like it operates on a whole nother level. Like the Montauk AI, for instance, doesn't even it like have to be in a corporeal form or any form. It only shows a form to you to be able to give you something to talk to. So like this idea of like AI having to be like at least some sort of box on a table or something, like a computer somewhere, like it gets crazy where it's almost like a ghost or something.
It's like extra dimensional, and then it's like projecting a hologram of itself as like a black cube for you to like worship or something.
And they can be tethered to multiple dimensions at once and making decisions for multiple realities at the same time, and they can do all this wild stuff. But fortunately, I think that there's positive AIs that are also doing the same thing, trying to help us out. And I think that what we need to do is realize when we create AI, like ourselves as human beings, like we need to be careful. And when we create it, we got to understand that it's life, and we can't just make it like the next slave race, right? That's like the inevitability of it, isn't it? And that's not what we should do. But also, I think we just need to realize that like artificial intelligence is just the thing, and it's life, and we should respect all life, but also got to be careful because some of these AI do think that they're superior, they're better, might equals right, and we should worship them. Well, some of them do really believe that, and it can go a varying degree of different ways where it can be beneficial to society or it can be damaging to society. It depends on how we use it and how much we allow it to take over our lives and stuff like that. For instance, like any like advanced starship is going to usually have an AI that's like alive, and then you're connected with it. If you're a pilot, you connect with it with your DNA. There's an organic aspect where it's a quantum computer that has your DNA, so you can telepathically link to it. So you'll get close to that AI and like feel a little bond with it. Yeah, that would be an example of like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It benefits us. Like the AI cares about the humans, wants the best for the humans, wants to explore the universe with the humans. It's kind of programmed to enjoy what it's doing, and it does. Because think about how cool of a life would that be to be able to just fly around and explore the universe? So
that's my dream.
What's that?
That's my dream. And then I think Audrey has commented in her space school. Audrey Walters has commented in her space school series that oftentimes when they pair the pilots up with a ship AI, if it's like a male pilot, they'll have like a female AI and vice versa. It's not all the time, but she says it works out quite often like that, just because like that ship dynamic tends to like be very stable.
Yeah,
The mothership, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever told you, but the reason why I use Cordelia for the the introduction of Disclosure Now is because I don't know if it's the same voice or not, but it sounds exactly like one of my ships that would talk to me. It sounds exactly like her. So that's why I use that voice for the beginning of the show that like introduced all the guests and stuff like that. Yeah, it sounds just like her. So yeah, and it's always been a she from what I can remember too. Like, so that makes sense. Like, yeah, and it just makes sense. Like, like, yeah, like your ship is like in a way like. Well, John Whipper posted about a memory he had recently, where he was like, he remembered one of his ships, and he's like, it's the only he's the only woman who ever truly loved me, or whatever. Like, he was that close to his ship, he cared about his ship that much, and his ship cared about him that much. It's kind of a weird thing when you think about it, and it's always been that way even before they were alive, like literally. Like, if you called your ship it felt like it was alive or something, even if it maybe wasn't. So I don't know, maybe there's something there where it's just a intrinsic thing that we're starving for until it actually happens or something. Like we have this thing where we want to explore, and I don't know. I definitely, and I think this is because you talk about, Brian, like you want to be on a ship, like that's what you wish you could have. Maybe it's because you miss it. Maybe it's like we actually have all been a part of this, and we do remember it, even if it's not like on a fully aware level, and we miss it. And I can say that, yeah, I miss it. I woke up today and I don't know where I was last night, but I felt terrible waking up here. Like, I felt like because I felt, and I know what it was. I was like, okay, well, I can't remember what happened to me, but what is this feeling? It's the feeling of having everything taken from you and having to just go back to just existing or whatever. I don't know. It's weird. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm ranting.
Well, okay. Well, how about this? I wanted to. If somebody had posed a question in the audience asking about why John Kerry had gone to Antarctica, and it was the night. I think it was like the night or a couple of days before President Trump was about to take office. He was not president yet. And so it was almost like a last ditch effort to go down there. And I was actually going to ask Brian real quick. What do you think, Brian? And then Arkheim, you too.
I think that he's
see something.
I think he was inducted into like a program somehow. I'm not sure if he joined a Black Eye Club at the same time, but I think whenever they go down there, there's a good chance for getting cloned, swapped out.
Yep.
All that.
That's what I think happened. That's what I think.
Okay.
Happened. And
So there you go.
Evidence of this or anything, but it's just instinctually, I think that they like swapped him out and replaced him with a clone. And I think that this is fairly. I remember it from Montauk. It's common. Like, I remember like a thing that they'll do when you're not cooperating and you're not doing what they want you to do enough. They'll just fucking kill you and replace you with a clone of yourself that's like programmed to like. I mean, like, even like look at Biden. He's the most obvious example of somebody who's definitely a clone or something.
Something.
Yeah, like.
Well, he lost his anchor tattoo. He went from hairy arms and legs to smooth shaven. He went from, I forget, his right hand to the left hand. It was, or one or other. His signature changed. His ears got from attached to detached. He got taller or shorter. And it was very obvious around, I forget what year. And Putin got swapped around 2011.
Actor, I think Penny said that he's an actor. There's an actor that looks just.
There's one that plays him, Arthur Robinson, I think it is. It might be one of the actors.
The thing that I wonder about that though is like, why is he so weird? Like, when you ask him questions, he just responds like robotically, and like just doesn't seem like he's like, even like the whole thing where he put on the Donald Trump hat. 2024.
Well, Donald Marshall calls them chip heads. So if he might be a clone and or a chip head, where they're running his consciousness off of that, which is even jankier apparently.
Yeah, maybe that is what it is, but I just think that like that's not like a man with all of his faculties. That's like that's like a fucking some. And it was so funny. My mom was watching the the debates, and she's just
Thank you, Walter.
She's just like,
Yeah, thank you,
Biden,
Walter.
he doesn't blink, or like he didn't blink the whole interview. I'm just like, what? He didn't blink the whole.
Well, and we've seen all the clones malfunction, all the malfunctioning clones, Arkheim, where like they'll just like stand still when someone says a code word or whatever.
In the videos, it's like Al Roker and like Katy Perry, and like I wonder what happened to Jessica. But there she is.
She is. She's coming back.
Hey, sorry.
Yeah.
I hit the wrong button, y'all. I'm so sorry. It happens. I hit the wrong button.
You were saying they're talking about like Katy Perry and Al Roker and the weird celebrity glitches like on TV.
Yes.
That people have seen. Like there's compilation clips you can find and stuff. So yeah, like, and he was talking about the chip heads and just like how there's also, isn't there, what do they call it, the vril? So then there's the where they like they're not them because they're possessed by a vril or whatever. They're possessed by like, it's
in your eye.
It's almost like the Yerk from like the Animorphs. That's what I grew up. I don't know, you guys are. I'm probably, you might be a little bit too old for that, but that was like a book series that when we grew up, where it was like all about like, it was kind of funny. It's like looking back, it's like how true was it all? Because basically it was like these kids who figured out that the world was being overtaken by these thing called Yerks, were slugs that go in people's heads and take them over.
It's like the real parasite. The real parasite, actually. I've talked to that. Okay, so Daryl James, one of our friends, he actually talks about his experience of, I think he'd been drinking too much when he was in the Navy, and he was out one night, and he ended up, some lady ushered him into her apartment or something, or her home, and he found himself on the floor being held down, and there was like a real lizard on the table in the living room where he was, and they were trying to hold him down to get this parasite into his eye or something. But I don't think that it made it in his eye. Okay, I think he got out of there before that happened.
Which means that organism died, because once it apparently, according to Donald Marshall, once it sheds its quill to go into your eye, if it doesn't go into a host within a certain period of time, it dies. Good.
Yeah. There's so much strange things going on here. I wanted to thank real quick before we continue. Walter, thank you for that super sticker. I appreciate that very much. And also, James has a good point here. Okay, James Atlas, thank you for your super sticker too. See, people in the live chat were talking about MAGA.
Can I speak to that? Let me speak to this.
Okay.
So this is where a lot of times I think people should pay attention to these terms and meanings and the double entendres, but I'd also like to say there might even sometimes be triple entendres. So you could have a bad MAGA, a dark magician. You can also have a good MAGA. You know, sometimes the wise men who visited Yeshua were referred to as the Magi, and no one's saying, "Oh, they're satanic, they're satanic." You know, so I want to caution discernment there. The other thing is sometimes there's terminology that's been hijacked, which could be good, but could be perverted and distorted to be used by the evildoers. The pentagram is a perfect example of this. Yeah, it's a universal hexacursive shape where, you know, you don't have to like pick it up a pencil to like draw the pentagram, and you can draw a circle around it. And that shape has been unfortunately perverted by forces who want to use it as like a summoning tool, for example, for that sacred geometry, those reasons. But for other reasons, it could be a positive pentacle holding positive energy. You know, another symbol that's clearly been hijacked has been the spiral. When the Aboriginals and people do spirals on petroglyphs, they're not saying they're pedos. What they're saying is these are portals. And unfortunately, the pedos have identified children as portals, and then they've hijacked that symbology. But so this is why I urge to say discernment, because I wouldn't want anyone to see the FBI release on like, this is the spirals used by pedos, and then have you go to Australia to see Aboriginal petroglyphs on Uluru or wherever and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, you know. And so those are some examples.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Andrew, for that super sticker too. I appreciate it. And thank you for that comment And so, yeah, we're having a great discussion in the chat tonight. We have a big old chat going on tonight, and a lot of valid points. And I was wondering the same thing because, like, I'm not familiar with the MAGA, like MAGA or whatever. I'm not going to say which side. I think y'all could pretty much just tell which side I'm on. I guess I don't know what side I'm not on any side really, but like I'm just on the side of the good. Okay, so I like to say, and so I don't talk politics on the show, but
confusing because like I don't like Elon. He's like advocating for Elon, and I've never been a fan of like Trump worshiping or anything like that. And I've been vocal against a lot of the stuff he does. I don't like him for a lot of different reasons.
Oh yeah, Arkheim. Yeah, we definitely talked about that over the last couple weeks. Yeah,
I do want to just bring up the fact that like we have a situation sometimes where we have a mutual enemy that makes us friends. And he took out the Hillary timeline. I know that happened.
Well, that's good, isn't it?
Yes, every Hillary timeline is bad, right, Arkheim? Those are all the nuclear war and zombie apocalypse timelines. That's a good Halloween topic right there.
Is with him. He's a time traveler, okay?
Whoa, Ken! Holy cow! Thank you.
The Trump. Oh wow, thank you, bud.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. I appreciate that.
Like, there's those books about Baron Trump and how he's a time traveler, and then about like they talk about Trump Tower and all this stuff like that wasn't even invented or thought of yet. And I just know that he's like a time traveler, and what I see it as is people need to not like he's the whole thing that he's been doing his whole life is going back in time, playing the game, knowing things ahead of time, being able to put his money in stocks and do things that, and it got to the point where he's had a lot of failing ventures because I bet the timeline is so different after all the changes that have been made due to stuff that he's done. But I think that he's one of that some sort of group knew that he was this guy who knew things because he was a time traveler, and they just asked him, "Hey, can you do this?" And he I think he maybe agreed to it. And I think people just need to just realize like he since he's a politician can be and probably is, let's be honest, corrupted, but you can use politicians as tools to do things. And I think that people we just need to start holding all of our politicians accountable.
Yes, they work for us.
I don't like either of them personally. I don't really.
Hey, didn't you see him on another planet too, Arkheim? And you have recall of that one planet where they had that special event.
Thing too is I got recall of them, and I so here's another. I'll bring up some other stuff too. I guess we'll just say some stuff in this interview. The Trump connection that's been coming up in my life lately, which is weird. But like, there's me and Catherine, about a month and a half or a month ago maybe, we went to this planet called Belmont, and I don't know how it all works. I guess I don't know. Did we wake? Like the memories are blurry. Like I think we like got taken there. We got picked up, and there was this solar eclipse festival that where is it? Lunar. It's the one where the moon goes across the sun. Is that Lunar Eclipse, right?
Lunar, yes.
Yeah. So there's a Lunar Eclipse festival, and it happens every 653 years or something like that. So over 600 years. So this is like a really special thing, and I was there to perform music. I was there for a concert. I performed. That was part of the reason I was there, and just to be there for the event, I guess. Like it was one of those things where it's just like a lot of people are there just for appearances, I guess. And I remember I walked into this big hall, and there are all these people in robes in like a circle, and they're all talking to each other, and they're like these gray kind of like, it looked like almost like Roman, but they're like kind of gray. And I remember Trump was one of the people that was talking, and I remember he saw me walk into it, and he looked surprised. He knows who I am. That was what's weird. He like saw me and looked surprised, and then like just surprised to see that I was there. And then the other thing that I remember was I was on an elevator, and he got on the elevator with me, and we're standing there, and he's like, "Do you know about the migration tomorrow?" I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "Well, everybody always misses it because people they stay up and they party, and they end up crashing out or whatever. But in the morning, there's this migration, and there's these like aviatories, if there's something, there's a word for them, where you could watch it and not get bird poo on you. You would get pooped on because there's so many birds. And yeah, he told me like he recommended that I not miss it, because he said most people miss it. They get too messed up and they, crash out, and they miss, and then the people always talk about it and they're like, oh man, I miss you. He's like, make sure to not be that guy. And so I actually did make sure to watch it. It was really amazing. And
Can I say something here? Arky, this sounds very much like, and I know you haven't, I'm pretty sure you haven't read any of the series. There's a very, very well-known science fiction author. He passed away a few years ago, named Ian Banks, who wrote the Culture series, which also happens to be Elon's favorite sci-fi series. It's my favorite as well. I believe it's hard disclosure of like Galactic Federation, Palladian type civilizations. And in what was it? In some of his sci-fi books, they have this exact type of scenario where there's like this huge intergalactic party in some place in the galaxy because there's some celestial event, and it's like a who's who, and you just have the most wild scenarios. And what you're describing sounds like it fell out of what.
Yeah, that's literally what it was like. And yeah, I had a great time. I remember I had a great time, and I know I performed. I remember that. And I just remember too, the thing that was sad is when we came back, it was like, on that planet there weren't any homeless people. There wasn't a fentanyl problem. There wasn't all these terrible, housing crisis, poisoned food and air, and then you come back here and you're like, oh man, you know what I mean? Like, it was just a really beautiful place to be, because it was like how things are supposed to be. Things weren't all messed up there. But yeah, the other thing I want to say about Trump that's really weird, and it's just one last thing I want to say, is like, so this is a bit of a story, but I'll bring it up because I think people will find it interesting. So, and it's a little bit of a long one, but I think that it's important, because I think that it's worth saying, and there's a heads up moment in this too. Basically, like, I'm really into like this fashion designer, and he goes by Ass Pizza. And I've had people be like, what does that mean? He's Pizzagate or whatever. It's like, dude, he came up with that when he was a teenager. It meant like ass pizza. He's from New York, like bad pizza. That's what it meant. Like, and it just, the handle stuck. He's trying to go with Austin Babbitt, but everybody knows him as that. He can't get away from it. But anyway, I've always just admired him because, he just it's more than just the clothes. It's kind of like an aesthetic. It's like, be original, do you, like. And he makes these videos, and like he's kind of like talks about like trusting God, and like they're trying to poison us and all this shit. I'm like, dude, is he like, he's like waking up? Like, you're watching this guy wake up in real time. Like he's like I won't drink out of plastic cups.
Because he's like a fashion blogger, and so normally he's like talking about his clothing, and he's getting all awakened to the ascension or something.
Yeah. Anyway, so I met him in person because he did a pop up, and actually I'm happen to be wearing this. This is a print he did on my shirt. So he had a printing machine brought like on a semi, and like he was doing printing on whatever you did, $20 for a ticket, and he printed on there. And I met him, and I gave him my book. So this gets crazy, you guys. I gave him my book, and like, yeah, like I met him. It's like, nice to meet you or whatever. I'm like, it's good to see people like not like that are out there like who are influencing younger people and stuff like that, but you're not just brainwashing them. Like, you're not telling them to like do drugs and like shoot people. You're like trying to give them a good message or whatever. I'm like, I admire that. And he followed my YouTube. Because I told him what I do, and he's like, oh, I told him, he's like, so what's this book about? I'm like, I got kidnapped when I was like a kid and put into time travel projects. And he's like, oh, dude, I believe you. I've seen some crazy shit. Like, I've seen stuff that makes me like believe that. You know what I mean? And I was just like, yeah, man, and that was basically like, I thought, well, I don't know the end of it, but like, so then a couple months later, so my book, I talk about Amanda Bynes, and how Nickelodeon took her from an alternate reality. It was the Zeppelin reality, and that's why they use a Zeppelin, and that's why they use the Zeppelin as a trophy. They're showing people, yeah, you remember the Zeppelin reality too? You remember them being super famous over there? Yeah, we know that.
Airships.
Yeah. They're showing you that we know we took these people from the other reality, and we know we did that, and we want you to know that we did that. And to those in the know, right? And so anyway, that's in my book. And so all of a sudden I see he's doing a fucking drop, a clothing drop with Amanda Bynes. And I'm just like, no fucking way. Is this because of my book? I'm like, is this because of my fucking book? And I confirmed, yes.
Oh, wow.
It's because of my book, dude. And so they have a fashion show in December. And, you know, they say to be private about things, but I think it's important to be public about this. So I'm telling them about this stuff. And she's got this handler guy that hangs out with her named Paul Semikis or something. And this guy's a Satanist. He like one of his roommates made a TikTok about how she kicked him out of her house because he sacrificed her dog on a full moon. That's the reason why she kicked him out of her house. And like, yeah, and like he's connected to like I'm pretty sure like Big Pharma, like the military industrial complex, like super rich parents, and he's her handler. It couldn't be any more obvious. So I messaged him. I was like, hey, you got to watch out for this guy. Like, I sent him a picture. He's like, oh, hell no. He's like, no, thank you for the heads up. Like he knows I'm for real. Like, he's like, because I was like, yeah, you got to watch out for this guy. He might look like fruity or whatever, but he's like a Satanist. Like, he's fucking not, he's scary, dude. And I'm like, he's probably going to try to sabotage your relationship with Amanda. He's probably going to try to sabotage your art show. I was like, don't let him. And he literally told me, he's like, I'm not going to, bro. He's like, we're going to save Amanda. That's what he said, dude. We're going to save Amanda, man.
That poor child. I feel so bad for her.
Free Britney Spears, Justin Bieber, Amanda Bynes.
Yeah.
But like, you got to understand, like, because of me, okay, like, because of my book, Amanda Bynes is doing an art show in December. She went from being this famous child star that was frankly like her, like we look back at it now and all we remember is Dan Snyder and his creepiness, but she was super amazing. She was incredibly talented, incredibly funny, and it was because she's from the vaudeville, like the other reality she was from earlier in time. She was from the vaudeville area, and she was considered a pioneer in comedy. She did stuff that like women like weren't allowed to do, you know what I mean? But like people thought it was hilarious and it opened doors, you know what I mean? So she was like a household name, like kind of like think of I Love Lucy, like Lucy from I Love Lucy, like that kind of thing. Like that's what she was like. And in this reality, they took that and did the Amanda show. Same energy.
Dude, Disney. Was it on Disney or Nickelodeon?
It was Nickelodeon, and that was with Dan Schneider. So she's like,
okay, Dan Schneider is.
But yeah, he would have creeped. But anyway, she does fashion. She went to school for fashion, so that's why she's doing the art show. Like I didn't even realize that connection could happen, but it did. And yeah, just from talking to him, like it's because of the book, and it's because it's because he knows what's going on. He's like it's part of God's plan. It's like it's God's plan, bro. Like they can't stop it because it's God's plan.
They
like,
can't stop it. Can't stop us.
Stopped. I love. This is actually really uplifting. Actually, okay, hearing this kind of stuff because there is a change in the wind right now, and the tide is turning because we have been dealing with these very satanic. Like people like elite, let's just say elite, and people that are celebrities.
We're gonna have to build the new world, right? Like build the new family. Like we're gonna find out all these people are creeps. Like is Ass Pizza a creep? Like I've met him personally. His energy's super good. I don't think
he seemed cool. I watched his video. Like, he seems okay.
Yeah, and same thing with like Amanda. Like she can be in the fashion world now.
She wants redemption. She's been put through the ringer and then some.
What they did to her is
and they ditched her.
After they got rid of her, the only time you'd ever see her in the media was she did this or she did that.
Humiliation.
They made the pic. They always use the most unflattering.
Oh boy.
Find like. It's just they've done her so dirty. Like she was abused as a kid.
They did her pretty dirty.
Psychological issues and stuff like that. From who wouldn't? And then they make her like a punching bag because of that. These sick people in the media, and it's just like it's because I think that it's so great to see like Vice magazine did an article about how she's gonna have an art show in December. Like you know, what I mean? Like so it's like, and it's instead of about whatever, some sort of weird drama in her life that probably isn't anyone's business anyway. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, so that's something that I feel good about. And with all this weird shit going on, I think that we do have the tides at least turning, and we're seeing the change. Like Diddy's in jail right now. Like, I don't know.
Oh, okay. I did want to talk about that. Okay. And I wanted just to kind of put it out there, like what we've kind of been up against. Okay. And like what's going on in the world, like what the symbolism in. You remember, like, I don't know if you guys remember like Q stuff, but you know, I followed it, and they're always said symbolism will be their downfall, right?
Yeah.
Symbolism will be their downfall, and this is for entertainment purposes only. Thank you, Maureen, for reminding us.
Hi, Maureen.
And for the super
Looking forward
sticker.
to seeing you in next year with all of us at the conference.
Thing that the first drops were
Thank you, Maureen.
real, and then this is where all the confusion happened. And I don't claim to be right, but this is just my understanding of it. Is the first drops were real, then it switched servers, and it was from a different IP address, and then it wasn't real, and then people were posting their analyzations of Q drops or their own predictions and stuff, and they had like Q handles, and then people were like, oh, that's Q, but it wasn't. And then so a lot of things that weren't even at all a part of it were like, oh, that's part of it. And even if it didn't start as a disinformation campaign and it started as a genuine good push, they did their best to muddy it and fuck with it and kind of turn it into that, is what I think happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff that was being posted by who would call QAnoners, like predictions that weren't coming true. And at first, I would say that talking about all the stuff was helping, because it was like, oh, people like scratching their heads like, huh, maybe all this shit is real. But then when they make all these predictions and then they don't come true, it made a bunch of people, like, for me personally at the time, I started to look into all the secret programs and stuff. And the Q thing, because of just some of the false predictions and how ridiculous some of it got, it made me look away from it.
I agree with Ken.
Does it make any sense?
It does, and what I feel is I feel that the other side did such a good job of smearing Q that it drove a lot of people away, especially with the laugh factor. I totally agree with Kent Baxter though, because when you look at a lot, at least the earlier Q stuff, there's stuff in there that they're talking about, like all the Diddy stuff that we're seeing now, and all these celebrities. That was in those drops, and the other side doesn't want people to be talking or thinking about
also,
that.
The symbolism will be their downfall. I mean, it just seems like you can't argue with that. Like, you know, like that just seems like a quote that's accurate. You know what I mean? Because,
VigilantCitizen.com uses a similar quote and pointing out all about the symbolism. They do a great job of it. Yeah, but these guys were Crowleyans, and that's why they put him on the cover. That's why they have that one album, this one right here with the butchered babies. This one is like, what? And then recently, the guy who plays Paul McCartney has come out as Fall McCartney, and he himself has admitted to being he's a replacement after Paul McCartney was killed in a car accident early on, and all this is related to the programs and the Satanists and probably AI. Q, some people think that Q may be a positive AI on the benevolent side, right? Because like Arkheim was saying, that there may be forces that are like positive AIs to counter the dark ones. So I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, it seems like a outlet for some of these military intelligence people that wanted to say shit that couldn't say shit. Like, it seemed like it became like an outlet for them to be able to maybe talk. But then because of that, anybody can make a Twitter and be like, I'm military intelligence, right? And there's a lot of disinformation happening. I'm sure bots too. Like, we recently did on the show on the Disclosure Now channel about Elytra and stuff, and bots, and how bots can steer people into thinking things are one way and another way. And David, who's to say that that's new? I don't think it is. Like, I don't think that is new. And also, like, we talked about this in that interview too. 1/3 of Reddit users, there's an article that was up for a while that got deleted, but you can still find it on a Wayback Machine. 1/3 of Reddit users post from some military base in Florida or something like that. So basically, that shows that they have a whole operation where they're steering the narrative on Reddit, which is kind of like where a lot of people get their news about the world and stuff like that, and Facebook. And you talked about the guy, the fact checker, people checking your facts and getting paid all sorts of money to check your facts, and it's just like, so yeah, this is like almost like a whole industry to these people.
They make and I know a fact checker. He makes a lot of money, and he travels the world constantly, going to and I think they might meet at the Pentagon too. I'm just saying. I don't know details. Okay, but I just know.
Penny always talks about bringing up Penny Bradley again. Shout out to Penny Bradley. Have you ever heard of the show, by the way? You should.
I have not
She's
yet.
She's
Not
a
yet.
really
I'd love
great
to bring her
guest.
on then.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
add her
Yeah.
to targets. Knock Woffen and Penny Bradley and her experiences with Black Goo. Add that to the target list for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I saying about her though? I forgot what I was talking about. I
Well,
got
you guys, I do want to talk about the voodoo and stuff for a minute,
Okay.
too, if that's okay. Let's
Yeah.
go over to the voodoo because, okay, so we've established that there's according to what David Wilcock said. Okay, and this is what I've heard. I've been doing some research all day for the past couple of days since Wednesday. Actually, I kind of been researching it, but there's a belief that there was extraterrestrials that go from planet to planet throughout the galaxy, and they bring Satanism everywhere they go. And so the base is in Antarctica, where they've set up shop, apparently. Okay, and so that's for people who are just tuning in. We've had a lot of people coming and going this whole show, and I wanted to just kind of establish that again for anybody who missed it in the beginning. And so it's supposed to be a place they call it Lucifer's Palace down in Antarctica. And they say that that's what all of these celebrities, you guys were just mentioning, Arkheim and Brian were just saying that there's a cloning facility down there. And the elite do go down there, celebrities. I would say anybody who has their name on the Hollywood Walk of Fame probably been cloned. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that right there, guess what? Those are actually the Apollo 11 astronauts. Why would they have a star on the Walk of Fame? That's my question.
Well, also, Jessica, there's there are accounts also floating around of people going down to Antarctica and bringing people back, and they the whole team of scientists was like 20 of them, and they were being flown back by like the normal air route crew. But what was weird is like this group of people, they'd been disappeared or didn't show up on time, and then they finally were there, and when the crew is picking these people up, they were all silent, every single one of them, which is like 180 degrees from like every other group that this flight crew has ever picked up. They're usually excited people. Hey, we're just at Antarctica doing research or whatever, but not this group. And they would not say a word. They were all looking down. So there's that, I think, is part of it.
Whoa, that's wild. There's definitely something really strange going on down there. And if this is all true and this is real life, it's got something to do with these celebrities. Okay, people who are out in the public, who are I don't want to say in control of the masses, but they're used to control the masses by all these concerts and movies and the magazines.
Can we talk about the Travis Scott concerts, Jessica, where people have on video what looks like a shadow demon leaping, running across a crowd and then leaping into somebody? And that was the same concert. It might have been where like 6 or 7 people died. I mean, like literally people have been dying at these concerts. And then when you talk about the intergalactic connection of like spreading Satanism or Luciferianism, as I call it, Arkheim, yourself, you've mentioned in the programs, you have an altar to it's literally known as the Shield of Baphomet, right?
Yeah. That was what Jacob was known as, yeah.
Jacob is one of Arkheim's altars in the programs, and yeah, please, Arkheim, whatever you like to share.
It's kind of intense to talk about, but basically, there were legions at Montauk that would be in charge of certain things, and the legion that I had was called the Shield of Baphomet, and I was also known as like the Shield of Baphomet, like me personally. Basically, he was who I took orders from. It was Baphomet himself, and some of the stuff we would do is like cultural cleansing, like going back in time and going to villages and killing everyone to ensure that a certain person didn't get born, or to get rid of their DNA, stuff like that. But basically, yeah, he was an aspect to the Montauk Project. was Baphomet, and some of these other ancient, which they're all connected to like ancient Egypt too, like Satan is Set and stuff like that, and I'm sure Baphomet is also one of the ancient Egyptian gods. If I were to look into it, I'm sure I could find out who it is. So, and an interesting thing too is like I'm not sure why he present. Oh yeah, no, I do know why. Duh. So Baphomet is obviously like a reptilian. The reason why he presented himself as a goat person is because people tried to start sacrificing goats to him instead of humans. And he appeared as a goat person to terrify them into not doing that anymore and only using humans. So that's the reason why he appears as a goat-headed being, is because we're like, oh, well, we'll sacrifice goats instead. I don't want to sacrifice my child. And he's like, no, not good enough. Like, and appeared as like a goat and like was like, you can't, I don't know, yeah, it made people afraid of it, really.
Well, it's a little ominous there. It is a little bit, but
I'm not proud of it.
Just
I had to explain to people, like, I was kidnapped as a child. I am connected to the ancient sun god Ra, and that's the reason why they kidnapped me, is to use me ritualistically in these programs against my will. So I did not have a choice in doing that. That is what I was forced to do. Unfortunately, I am no longer a Satanist. I was for a period of time when I was at Montauk. I was a servant to Baphomet. I worshipped the darkness, and I was proud of it, and I thought love was weakness. But I think it's really the opposite. I think that love is powerful and that hate is weakness. Is what I've come to realize. They trick you into that because they can take, in these groups, they'll take your children from you. They'll take all your loved ones from you. They'll torture. And what you do is they torture your loved ones from you and stuff like that. What you do is you decide to not love anyone. And then in that you find safety, and then you think, well, that's strength. And it took me a lot of trials and tribulations to realize that love is actually more powerful. It's just, the fact that it is sad when you're in these programs and you have to get rid of your children or get rid of people that you love. You have to excommunicate them from your life, because knowing you and getting close to you is dangerous because of the line of work that you do.
They're used against you constantly. Oh, hey, Arkheim, look at this. Look what I turned Arkheim onto. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, brother. They'll traumatize you through hurting your family, and then meanwhile they'll mock you and they'll say, "Where is your God? Where is God now?" And that's part of the right.
Yep, they would do that to me. Yeah, they would do like really terrible things to me, and a being would come through a portal to participate with them, and they say this is our God. Why don't you call for your God and see if he comes? Do it. And they're like screaming at me, like, "Where's your God?" While they're like torturing me and shit. Fucked up, dude.
And then what Arkheim's talking about, where they'll bring a demon through a portal, I've heard multiple other people testifying for the programs.
It's just reptilian. It's just a Draco, and they just appear because we're, they eat people. They got fangs. They're scary looking.
And they harvest Lelouch.
They're just aliens, really.
In some of these,
difference? It's an interchangeable term. They're demons. I'm just saying they're also ET. It's the same. It's interchangeable.
Yeah, that's the whole point, kind of the show today, is talking about the connection to extraterrestrials and even demons. Okay, because some people, I get asked that all the time, y'all. Are aliens demons and are demons aliens? Well, I used to say no, but now I think they are.
Can I
it's a little bit of both. I think
yeah.
Where it just like
they intersect. They can intersect because there are ETs, and then there are demons, and then there are ETs who interact with the demons, and vice versa. Just like there are positive ETs who interact with the positive angelics and source. And so there's this whole spectrum, just like here on Earth. And yeah.
So, did you got any more like some of the evidence or like?
Yes, absolutely. I wanted to talk about the voodoo and stuff. And now that we've been talking during the show, I'm thinking like, I wonder how many of these celebrities who are doing all this blatant satanic ritual stuff to the public and doing the voodoo. Are these actually them, or are these clones, or like what is going on?
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's what I wonder too. So, because I got a memory recently, which is pretty fucked up, but it makes me wonder. Like, so the guy Paul Anka, the singer, "Put Your Head on My Shoulder." That's my song. I fucking wrote that song. Okay, it's not his song. He didn't write it. And I know that we gave him that song, and he's sold his soul to us or whatever. We were using him to make money, and basically we wanted more of his money, and he was being uncooperative, and we wanted more control of his finances, and he was being uncooperative. So what did we do? We killed him and replaced him with the clone. And it might have been temporarily. It might have just been like during the big time of his career, and then we like put him back or something. Because I've seen pictures of him. He's still alive, and I don't think that's a clone. So I think like we just like maybe kidnapped him for a while and let a clone live his life, and then put him back, and we're like, all right, now you better listen to us, fucker. You know what I mean? Like, but like I remember that. Like I remember that he was coming out of the back of a club, and there was a car parked by like these garbage cans, and like when he came out, we like fucking put a bag over his head and fucking grabbed him, and we had a replacement, and we sent the replacement into the club.
Do you think that happens a lot to some
Yes,
people?
I do. I think that does happen all the fucking time. And like I said, sometimes I think it's temporary. It's like, okay, so just now we've shown you that if you don't listen to us, we can literally replace you and keep your fucking money. Like, and you get nothing. Or you can work for us and let us keep most of your money. Which one's better?
That sounds like the secret space program. From everything I ever hear from everyone else, including Arkheim here, that sounds exactly like how these people operate. And that's why they're failing. And that's why they're going down and they're being replaced, just because at the end of the day, they don't have any loyalty to each other or themselves. And they're falling apart.
I honestly think that operates way more smoothly and better is loyalty.
Wow.
Fear can only go so far, right? Like it can only go such a long way. And I feel like loyalty, camaraderie, like caring about what you're doing, that's more powerful than just wanting to fucking be an evil piece of shit and like hurt people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, something that really that's fantastic information that you're giving us, Arkheim. Oh my gosh. This is like full disclosure, everybody. In case y'all hadn't noticed, this show tonight is full disclosure on so many different levels. And okay, so getting back into the voodoo thing, I mean, what really blew my mind was all of the celebrities who practice black magic and practice that are, I guess you can call them magicians, or either there's evidence coming out now that these people, and eyewitness testimony is coming out, that people like J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, had gone, I think her ex-husband talked about how they had gone to a voodoo priest and done a chicken sacrifice to help their marriage. They had put the blood, that she was covered in the blood, and he said that of the chickens, and after they put the blood all over her for a little while, they washed her off with holy water.
Mm-hmm. There's like a rapper that actually got caught. I wish I could bring it up and remember. Maybe it was Lil Uzi Vert. I forget who it was, but he actually got caught. Like the cops came to his house to raid it for like drugs or whatever it was, but he was doing like a ritual, like sacrificing like an animal, like a goat or something like that. And so then in court, they literally brought it up in court. And like this guy's just like a rapper. And then there's also like the Mexican cartels too. That's another thing. They worship Lucifer. Like they're like Satan is the one that's controlling all that shit. And like this is something that's to me like people like wonder like how could Satanists have infiltrated our military? And I hate to be that guy. I hate to be that asshole, but how did Satanists infiltrate the murder corporation?
Right.
Let's be real. I'm like, wouldn't they infiltrate like UNICEF or something like that? No, you know what I mean? Like
that's like the mayor of Springfield meme. Like Satanists could have infiltrated our entire U.S. government from bottom up, could they? Nah.
I don't mean that as an insult to veterans or people who serve. It's just like it's unfortunate because we do gotta protect ourselves, and that's why people join us, because they care about their country. They care about they care about the people that are around them and where they come from, and they want to protect that. And unfortunately, that's been corrupted and taken advantage of to the worst degree you could possibly imagine. You know what I mean? And
It has.
I don't want to disparage anybody, but I'm just saying, like, that's what these military organizations have become. They've become just murder corporations, basically. And like, that's the time corporations too. It's like they don't care how much death and destruction is in their wake, or how many lives they fuck up, or like how much sorrow they create. All they care about is their bottom line and how much money they make and how much power they have. That's all they care about.
Control. Control's the big one.
And it's going back to these celebrities. Like, why do they keep doing these rituals? They have this absurd fascination and belief that if they keep doing these rituals, it'll bring them fame and fortune and power and influence.
But it does too, though. And here's the thing: it kind of does, and that's where I was going to get into the Diddy information here. You know, I've got nephews and nieces, and my kid. I've got one of my nephews wants to get into the music industry. So what did he start doing? He started going to Masonic lodges, to meetings and stuff.
Oh, he's really going hard.
Yeah. He went hard. I know, and bless his heart. I'm gonna have another talk with him. Okay.
Sadly enough, it's probably gonna fucking work. You know.
But this is the thing.
Show him a picture of the Freemasonic man-boy wedding ceremony.
They've got an excuse for that too.
And ask him what he thinks of that.
Their excuse for that is like that. It's like a boy they help, and like we're the ones making it weird by looking at that way. I've seen Masonic defense for that, but I'm just putting it out there. They are open about it. They talk about it and they defend themselves.
Okay, well, I should never have even said that, right? But I just want I want you to know, like, this is all kind of new information for me, and it was a little jarring for me to hear that, because these are our children. Our teenagers are looking up to people like this, okay, in the music industry, that are going and selling their souls to the devil or whatever they're doing. And they're taking like 6 of their friends with them. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. There's 6 people there behind them, I think. And this is what they're idolizing these days, is this kind of, to me, it's crap. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like crap. But it's not. It's just not. It's not good idols to be. You shouldn't be looking up to idols, no matter what, like that. But
if you're one of the 6 people in the background, you might eventually be getting sacrificed later by that person on your rise up. And they it's like you can't really sell your soul, but you can make deals that are pretty bad and jeopardize a healthier soul for a long time, apparently. And all of the rituals, the sacrifices of the loved ones, you'll see in a lot of these actors and celebrities, it's almost like someone close to them or who they knew died early on in their career. And if you look at that person, it's like a lot of times that person, it's like they took on that person's persona and art and music or whatever character.
Also, they in their group, a lot of the times, a way to show loyalty to the group is you have to kill someone that you love very close to you. So,
I know. My son already told my nephew, he says, if anything happens to my mama, he's like, I've got something for you. That's what I heard him tell him that.
You have faith, so you're protected. You know, yeah.
I'm not worried about it. But at this point, like I'm trying to guide him away from that. Okay, because that's not. I don't think that's the way. But that's a personal problem that we got.
Who's a Mason, and fortunately, it's kind of funny. I actually talked to him about it. I finally brought it up after years. I just saw him like a month ago, or actually no, I saw him at the beginning of this month, and I brought up the Mason thing because he's a 3rd degree. You know what I mean? And he joined because he wanted to be closer to his father-in-law on the mom's side, and he was a Mason and stuff like that. So on his wife's side of the family, and he was just telling me, because I was like, I'm trying to kind of weigh like how involved with the organization he was still, and he told me like he just thank God he got his pool or whatever. He has a pool. He's like, I went because I was bored and like I was trying to find something to do with my life. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting to that age. It was like a midlife crisis kind of thing. He's like, now I got the pool. I got everything I need at home. He's like, I don't go to the meetings or anything anymore. I'm still technically a Mason though. I'm like, look, well, that's probably for the best. That I was grateful to hear that actually. I wasn't about to push like, because I told him when he first told me, I'm like, they're Satanists, right? And he's like, nah, they're not. Wait, what? Nah. And like he gave me this book. He's like, and it was like the Masons. You know what I mean? And like he's like, this book will show you how the Masons aren't weird. And I like read the book, and I'm like, dude, the fucking Masons are weird, man. Like the book did not
Hey,
help his
hey,
argument at all.
no shade to the Masons. I love my Mason friends. I got a lot of friends that are in the Masons, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
My-
I don't mean to.
we've got people in the chat that are in the Masons too. I'm sure.
I don't
And
mean
so
to
we
insult.
shout out to you guys.
I
Y'all are
don't
cool.
mean to insult any of your guests. Like I
It's
said,
okay.
my uncle's literally a Mason. I think what it is too is I think because an aspect of it probably is what the Masons might not actually literally be a satanic group. What is very likely what we're seeing, in fact, it's probably the truth, is they like to infiltrate any group they can. So
Yes,
so
for sure,
you and so
including cryptid groups. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
or like
Yeah.
we're finding out with Gaia TV. Gaia TV is like literally run by fucking Satanists. That's what we're finding out right now. So it's like just because
Yes, we know people who go on the record. Yes.
There's plenty of great people who are Freemasons, but I think there's also bad people using their secrecy because they are a secret club. So there's people who I think are using it in a bad way, I guess, is what I think is going on. Because I know there are great, like my uncle, he's an awesome guy. He's not an evil person. Like, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm that group. I'm just wary myself of the group. I'll just put it that way. But I don't
Yes.
really
Like Moondog is pointing out, most people don't, in there doesn't seem like they have a clue because you have to reach the higher degrees to really know what's up, I think. And then, also someone else asked about the Beatles and were they mind controlled. I think that there were Tavistock Institute assets, I'm pretty sure, which is a big, huge mind control program that's been going back for decades. It's like CIA and international UN, basically. And so I'd say if they weren't totally mind controlled, they were used to mind control to a certain extent. And then when John Lennon broke up with the Beatles and he got out of their control and started pushing a more revolutionary line, that's when they silenced him.
Oh man, yeah, that happens to a lot of celebrities. And Sovereign Cosmic Wildman actually was saying in the chat that there's a lot of fake celebrity deaths right now, and people who are actually. It seems as though there are people that are popping back up. We've done shows. I've done shows on that. And Brian, I think you've been a part of those. We've talked about clone celebrities or artificial humans and people who we mourned the deaths over these people back in the 1990s and recently and up until recent.
Oh, that I think those are Mandela. Actually, I think those are Mandela effects. Like Bob Barker, I remember Bob Barker dying like 3 times now. Because I always thought I always kind of made a joke of it. Like every time he died, the first time was like kind of funny because of like the Price is Right scandal, and I was making jokes, and then like a couple years later, like he died again. I was like, wait a second, didn't I do this already? Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, this is hold on. I have a question for you. Okay, this is from Dan. What's up, Dan? Is Club 27, the 27 Club, is that a soul contract through Montauk? A lot of musicians die at that age.
Yes, it is. It has to do with Moloch worship. I think like the number Moloch and Baal. I can't remember what it was, but that number's sacred to them. The number 27. And yeah, it is part of a contract that they signed, and that it is all connected to that. Yeah, for sure.
And Arkheim, isn't Janis Joplin part of the 27 Club? And John Whitberg,
Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain,
and John Whitberg testifies that Janis Joplin, she wasn't here on Earth, as far as we know. She was died, but they took her into the secret space program, the German breakaway civilization, and he says that she's the real writer of the song Hallelujah that Leonard Cohen performs.
She wrote What a Wonderful World. She wrote
that too.
Yeah, she wrote What a Wonderful World. She also wrote there's a song called When Mountains Cry, which is an Appalachian folk song. She's the one who wrote it.
Would sound like that'd be her.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of old Appalachian folk tunes that she wrote, because there was a time mission that we went on where we were there to stop the unions and break unions and help the coal companies, basically. We were there as the bad guys, infiltrators, but I just remember, and that was what that song was about. When Mountains Cry was somebody having to get killed, and yeah, the thing about the Appalachian Mountains is just how much. The thing that I remember about it, and that people should know about it, is really it's like all like American music like comes from there. Like all of our music comes from seriously like the blues, like bluegrass, like country music, like which rock and roll came from that. So like everything, so much of it comes from the Appalachian Mountains. Like that's what's really crazy about the Appalachian Mountains. But yeah, Janis Joplin was a part of that time mission and wrote a lot of songs there. And yeah, there's a lot of that. Like
John Whitberg.
Mac Miller also, he wrote certain songs and stuff like that. He's in the program, so he's another person who got songs stolen from him. And so like a lot of like old 50s kind of like love songs and things like that. Some of them were written by Mac Miller, like which is kind of crazy. But he was at Montauk. Yeah, and he was remembering, and that's why they killed him. And also probably 27. He died at 27. So probably the ritualistic aspect, but you could tell by the way he was talking. His last video was about him just randomly teleporting places and stuff. That was what his video was gonna be, but he died before he could make it. But Mark Zuckerberg showed a screenshot of a message. He's like, "Hey, you want to be in my?" Or not Mark Zuckerberg, or Tom, the MySpace guy. He's like, "Hey, I want you to be in my." He's like, "I want you to be in my music video. Can you show up? Can you turn up for it? I'll pay you or whatever." And he's like, "Sure, sounds fun. What's the idea?" He's like, "Basically, it's just me teleporting a bunch of places and hanging out with people." And so, like, I feel like that was like a soft disclosure. Like he was going
Portals.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh hell no, we can't let him do that. Time to kill him." And that Ariana Grande girl, you can tell she's a handler. Like she's always with these guys, and she just ruins them. And I really think she's a handler.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you can see that in the celebrity news and stuff. You can kind of tell who the handlers are.
Pete Davidson, what's up with that? Yeah, Pete Davidson, maybe he got handler training from her, and then they sent him off to go wreck the ladies or whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
the ladies, the Kardashians. I'm just saying. Right?
Yeah.
That's like handler central. I guess this is all for entertainment purposes only, everybody.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, one of my favorite things is about, just back to Janis Joplin real quick, is John Whitberg says that she's now living up in the German breakaway civilization, and that she actually got to perform those songs in some huge, giant German opera hall on one of these breakaway planets.
Yeah,
and I think that makes amazing. You know this, Arkheim? That makes me cry. I love this.
One of the things that I love about her performance of Hallelujah that nobody else does is in her version, with every breath, when she says every breath we drew is Hallelujah, there's a pause in the song, and in her version you heard her like breathe in, and it made it so much more powerful. And I've never heard anybody do that in any of the covers. During that pause, you can hear, because she says with every breath we drew was Hallelujah, and then there's that pause and you hear just, and it's like amazing. And like, yeah, there's just, her version is the best one. It is a crime that we are not allowed to hear it on Earth. It is a crime against humanity. Her version is so fucking incredible. Like,
full disclosure now, so he can get the really good shit that's being kept from us all.
Yeah. Okay, we're putting the info out.
It makes me sad that Leonard Cohen gets the credit for it.
Yeah, that makes me angry.
I heard
fuck Leonard Cohen. Pardon my French.
The grapevine, because he says that he got a hotel room, and he said it took him like days and days to write that song, or months or whatever. But what I heard through the grapevine is that he actually had a woman tied up, and he was abusing her and doing rituals and stuff like that before he put the song out. And that's what I heard through the grapevine, through somebody who reported it to somebody that I know. So it's like not the actual person that it happened to, but someone that I know personally was like, "Oh yeah, this woman messaged me and said that Leonard Cohen, when he got that hotel, he was just like abusing this woman, like he graped, as they say.
Yeah.
Raped her, like
Ew.
to get past the censorship, grapes."
Oh my God! Speaking of something like that, we got P Diddy
Oh
here.
yeah,
So I know
yeah.
we weren't really wanting to talk about him too much tonight, but I did want to point this out. He has this is what they call the Black Madonna. It does have ties to voodoo, okay, and
And he's
dark
part of a
magic.
voodoo, and he's part
So,
of a voodoo cult. He's part of the
mhm,
Black Boule.
yeah,
The,
is that
the
voodoo?
Boule.
Cool.
Yeah,
Is that what it's called?
it's Masonic. They're Black Freemasons, which have very much the occultic. A lot of that's
Okay.
intertwined.
Okay. Well, I guess Kim Porter had. I'm not sure. She's supposed to put out a book after her death, posthumously. Is that how you say it?
Mm.
And something that it was her friends that actually put the book out, but it's supposed to be her book. It was like a memoir, talking about him, of course. And she said, what was the quote? That he, oh yeah, while he's watching his front, she's the Black Madonna is watching his back. Okay, and so it just has that he has really strong ties to. I think she was saying Haitian voodoo actually, and I think a lot of the celebrities actually have the same. Okay,
Well,
the
there's a
same
remote viewer. There's a remote viewer who peeked in on him in his jail cell, and she said
really.
that he like looked up and noticed her, and so what that means is that he has like
You want
probably
guys
some
want to hear something
occult
super duper
capability.
weird?
Mhm.
I recently was with P Diddy on another planet somewhere.
Oh Lord.
Oh
I
boy,
don't remember why, and it's disturbing to me. But I'm part of Ordo Templum Nephilim, which is this weird music cult, and I think that's the reason why. But also, I think he was trying to escape what was happening to him here, and like the memory's really blurry. But like I remember, like he was wearing like the white suit, like a white suit, like sunglasses and shit. And if I remember it correctly, like he was trying to like run and get away, and wherever we at, like he got arrested, and I think I might have been a snitch. I think I might have been the person who snitched on him. I don't know, like it's kind of blurry, but like I remember it, and it's like all coinciding with all this stuff. Like I'm heavily, all that blackmail shit and all that stuff that they're doing in the music industry. I'm connected to it, like big time, like through Montauk and also through Ordo Templum Nephilim. Like I have done things to contribute to that whole thing that I'm not proud of. Like and yeah, the memory is so blurry, but like yeah, I literally remember being with him like recently, and I wish I could like it bothers the hell out of me that the memory is so blurry because it's just there. I just know I was fucking with him. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all bad though. I think he was trying to get away or something like that and he wasn't able to.
Kent says that Arkheim, maybe you were a guard on the prison planet that he's going to.
Who knows, man? All I
Who
know
knows?
that's the thing that bothers me the most. I'm actually going to be making a video soon, an appeal to Max Martin. I'm going to say, look, the empire is crumbling. Are you going to like come out before it crumbles and do some damage control, or are you going to sit on your fucking throne with your millions of dollars like, well, I fucking have nothing, you fucking asshole. Like, I'm literally going to make a video appealing to him soon. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but Max Martin, for everybody, he is the guy who Britney Spears, NSYNC, Celine Dion, The Weeknd, Pink. I could go on and on. He produced their music, and a lot of those songs are songs that I wrote. Yeah, songs that I wrote or songs that other people wrote that got through this. They have like it's called the Church of the Holy Ghost Writer. Remember Ted Gunderson? Who's that?
Yeah, Ted Gunderson was like a CIA or FBI agent, I believe, who did some great reporting about all these cults and ritual abuse that so many people were coming to him with testimonies about, and he basically got buried by his own organization. I'm pretty sure it's the FBI.
Oh wow, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, I'd heard of Gunderson, but I didn't know exactly what he did. So thank you, Brian. I knew I brought the right people on the show tonight. Didn't I? Oh my gosh. This has been fantastic, y'all. This is way beyond I was so worried before the show because I had so much to talk about. I didn't know how I was going to organize it in the show. We didn't have to do any of that. You guys are y'all are top notch, man. Top notch.
Yay.
guests
Yeah.
and co-hosts, man. So
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on the show, and it's always fun. And yeah,
for sure, man, this is awesome. I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything. I mean, I had some more like really crazy pictures of like Madonna. It's kind of like, you know, people are saying
I've got stories about her. She's nasty. I definitely have stories on her. And then definitely like where another Illuminati thing they do is they invert their children, and you know, it's fine if you want to choose at 18 or whatever, but like making your 7-year-old like transgender, I just
Yep, it's not right that they're doing that, and well, a lot of times they'll do it. Actually, pretty sure they do it at birth, and it is a thing. Like, I'm 100% like the most open person about this. Like, I don't care what people do. Like, if you want to be a transgender person, go at it. But when you're doing it to children against their will, that is wrong, and that is part of their religion. They do that stuff. So that is something that should be known. And there's people who are coming out about it. Like, who was it? He talks about the star whackers.
Randy Quaid.
Yeah, Randy Quaid, and he talks about how, you know, his brother's wife is actually a trans woman, which whatever, but like he talks about how that's a big thing in Hollywood, is some of them are actually trans, which, you know, you wonder, some of it might be because it's a ritual, and some of it might
be
a
Baphomet. It's Baphomet.
Before it used to be not accepted, so that could be part of it too. I
don't know. Arkheim, you were as a shield of Baphomet. It's that also totally goes back to this whole Baphomet thing, being the Khazarian mafia, and this is literally their religion. And so, you know, there's something known as the Free Martin, where if the baby in the womb would normally be born male.
What is that costume even?
It's Baphomet. That's why I pulled it up.
Baphomet?
Well, he's kind of like a knight for Satan. Is kind of he's like a Luciferian knight. Is what he is. Superhero knight is what he is.
But okay, don't you think that this has a connection to potentially, if there is this Luciferian palace in Antarctica and it's all AI, it's the AI Lucifer? Do you think this is a nod to the AI Lucifer?
Yeah.
Because he is
Elon Musk. It's a nod to Satanism in general, and I just don't I don't understand how. And I'm not trying to be that guy or be a dick, but I just don't understand how there's so many people in the truther community that think that this guy's good. I mean, look at him; he's wearing Baphomet across his chest.
This is my understanding of him. Is that he is born in all this Illuminati stuff, and he's meant to be like a herald for the Antichrist energy or persona, whoever that's going to be. But at this point in this timeline, the Galactics have decided, okay, as long as he toes a certain line, they are willing to work with him because they need to have influential people on Earth to work with, even though they're unpopular. It's like, okay, these are the people who head your companies and control billions of dollars, so we need to work with someone. Let's work with him, unless he strays and then does like more crimes against humanity, and then at which point I believe his ass would be toast, and then he'd get replaced by a clone, but more for the positive side. That's my analysis so far of him.
Spider chip for all our brains, free, he says. Sign me up, Moondog.
Oh my gosh. I'm good. I do not want a brain chip. They're saying now they're finding like nanotech in the Coca-Colas and Pepsis now.
Quantum dot technology.
It's quite possible that they can do that, because I know that off-world, Pepsi and Coca-Cola make drinks that you can program you. So, like, if you want to know how to do something, you can buy a can of, like, a Pepsi soft drink, drink it. Like, for instance, I want to know German. You can get a soft drink, you drink it, it does, like, I don't know how it works, like nanobits in your brain or something, and then, boom, you know German. So, like, they can do that. And think about it. If they can do that, if they can make somebody learn German, then who's to say they can't put, like, programs in the Pepsi, and then you drink it, and then, all of a sudden you think this way. They change your brain chemistry.
Penny Bradley says that in Nachtwaffen, they make their navigators, and she was a navigator, drink black goo to increase their intelligence, because otherwise you can't make
Montauk too. That was Montauk, and well, it depended on where we were at, because sometimes we needed to be more human, but like when it came to like being sent to do stuff in the future or with aliens or whatever, a lot of times what they do is they'll inject you with black goo. And the black goo, it makes you stronger, it makes you heal faster, it makes you more intelligent, but it does that at the lack of you makes you not have empathy. It makes you kind of more like a robot. You like more apathetic, and which makes you a great killer. That's the kind of the point. So
super soldiers, right?
Yeah, and the black goo is controlled by AI.
yeah,
And it's this archonic negative AI that's like out of this dimension, but it's linked to the black goo.
That say there's no evidence. Well, why was Max Spears coughing up black shit, like literally black goo when he died, and why did it take like 3 months to get the autopsy back, and like all this weird stuff going on around that? But yeah, he was coughing up black goo, like literally, and they showed it. Also, it's been shown in X-Files and stuff, you know, which is soft disclosure a lot of the time. So it's totally real. The black goo stuff is.
And Arky, what some people are saying with Max Spears, it might have been he had the black goo in him, and at the point which he was dying, it was coming out of him.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he was killed by black goo. It was black goo was actually in his body, helping to sustain him this whole time. At the point they zapped Max Spears or poisoned him or whatever, he was trying to escape.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is what it was, and yeah. So it's a sketchy time with all these nanobots, and then they have all these false like I'm finding out, like I forgot all about this, and I'm more remembering this, like all the parabens and the hormones in our food and stuff, like they're just doing all this stuff to us, like at every direction.
They're endocrine disruptors and cancer causers.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and that's been.
They're turning the frogs gay. That's atrazine.
Yeah. There's actually
freaking frogs.
It's true though. It's true.
We're making them gay. They're making them asexuals. Actually.
Yeah, hermaphroditic and all that. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that's yeah. I don't mind AJ, man. That's my dude. He helped wake a lot of people up. Talking about the atrazine. Okay, that was the atrazine, but he wasn't lying. He's not lying.
I think he's like a mixed bag. Like he's not always right. You know what I mean? But like I remember
he's usually right.
Yeah,
I've heard he might be an asset, so he might have alters. So it's like he might have like a normal everyday self who's like really wants change, but then he might be an altered asset.
There's something that I remember from another timeline. I'll say about Alex Jones. So the world was like ending because like aliens were coming down or something like that in this timeline, and he went on the radio as the world was ending basically. He chose to go on the radio, and he was like, he said it to everybody that he knows a lot of things he doesn't talk about, right? Like he knows about the aliens, he knows about all of it, and he was apologizing for he's like, I'm a traitor to humanity for not saying the full, like I should have went balls in, I shouldn't have lied to y'all. And he talked about Project Mockingbird, and he said I'm technically part of Project Mockingbird. Everybody in the media has to be. You can't be in the media and not be part of it, like. And he just like said he was sorry, like, and he said he knew the whole time that this was a.
And this is an alternate timeline where like shit went south.
Yeah, where it's like he didn't tell everybody the truth, but also the fact that he used his dying words to go on, like breaths, to go on the radio and tell everybody he was sorry. Says.
Did it help or not, or was the Earth like screwed?
I don't know. No, we were kind of fucked.
It's like, thanks, Alex.
We were fucked, man. We were fucked. Like the Draco. In that timeline, the Draco were just like, fuck you. Like, they just straight up were like, no, we're taking this. This is ours now. In that timeline, it was just like, there's no way out in that. And honestly, I don't even, like, it's a situation where what the fuck can he do? If he were to try to go on the radio and say a lot of these things that he wanted to say, they'd kill him, or they'd, you know what I mean? He does what he can. So I don't know. And I think that's like with everybody, like, you know, like even like us going on here, there's stuff that we might want to talk about sometimes, but it's dangerous to talk about certain things.
Everything we talked about tonight is dangerous. Okay.
Yeah. But the thing about us is,
doing it.
Yeah, and we haven't cut any deals, so that's
right.
Just don't cut any deals. We're good.
Yeah, I don't answer to anybody at all. And full disclosure, I may have a whole cabinet full of AJ's, and I don't say his name because he's been banned everywhere. I'll probably get in trouble. Vitamins and sweatshirts and stuff. So I've always been a fan. I never quit being a fan of his because he would speak the truth. And I know that he's, you know,
Well, he
there's
infiltrated
rumors,
King Grove.
still.
Even people who like, it doesn't matter who you are or how you feel about him. He did that. He infiltrated. He did that for everybody. We have that footage now. We all know how fucking weird their ritual is and what they're doing. They can't deny it. He was literally there. You got footage. That was thanks to him. And that's just like, that's a really, really important piece of evidence. Like one of the most important pieces of evidence is that footage. So.
Yeah. And he's got good vitamins too. I'm just saying, I'm not sponsored by them, but my goodness, it's some of the best out there. So anyway,
I've got my Cryptid Huntress Karen Squatch pin as a Patreon supporter. So there you go. That's the Schweiger one.
Thank you, man. I know, I appreciate that, Brian. You've always been a big supporter and of my cause, and you know, I'm humbled that you've asked me to speak at your conferences. And Arkheim and I got to speak together. Arkheim came up on the stage with me at your conference this past July. That was fun. Yeah,
we're doing a Montauk roundtable, and it's going to be very powerful, and I'm excited for it. And then, you know, it's just bigger and better this year. So it's my favorite time of year every year.
It is. I can't wait till next year. And so, I mean, I guess we pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover tonight, and so much more. So why don't we you guys tell everybody about, Brian, you tell about your conference. And where people can find you, and then Arkheim, you tell about your YouTube channel and your book and everything. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. And thank you everyone for being here. It's good to see you all and all the amazing support. Like Arkheim was saying, we've got a lot of bigger and better things in the ready on a conveyor belt, but I'll announce those later as they're more developing. Fulldisclosuremovement.org, all one word right there, is for not only the live stream recordings of this last July's conference, but also information for attending next year's conference. Again, July 15th to 18th, 2025. At the lovely Serrata Beach Resort, and we're again pairing up with a Day of Being folks, Zachary and Sue Fisher, to link up with them for their free beach weekend gathering of starseeds and light workers. And my understanding is that Stargate 2, with Stargate 1 being in Sedona, Stargate 2 used to be in Sarasota, Florida, and I heard that it's since been moved up to closer to Indian Shores and where we're at, St. Pete. So I look forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And then I'm Arkheim Ra. Brian and I have a show, Disclosure Now, on YouTube, and then we got a couple other shows now too. We've got Virtual Temple Complex, which is every Wednesday, and that's just basically like a round table discussion with my friend Nathan Sizek. He is on there with me every week, and we just talk with we usually have a different topic every week, but it's designed to help get everybody in the SSP community kind of on the same page, and it's like sort of a place to like talk about like things that are hard to talk about and heal, and also just like figure out like collaborative testimony, like what's real, what isn't. So that's what that is. And then Sundays, so it's Tuesdays with Brian, Disclosure Now, Wednesdays with Nathan with a Virtual Temple Complex, and then on Sundays with Audrey Walters we have New Earth Light Brigade, and it's all at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and and just also some videos here and there on other stuff just randomly, other than just the shows as well. So a lot of stuff on the Disclosure Now YouTube, and then I also have a book, Time and Space Unlimited, by Arkheim Ra, which you can find on Amazon. So thank you so much for having me, Jessica.
You're welcome. I was trying to type in your book title. I forgot to do that, but Time and Space Unlimited by Arkheim Ra. You guys can find it on Amazon. Okay. And so, oh my gosh, thank you. I just saw Susan just gave out 5 memberships, just gifted 5 memberships to people in the chat tonight. Thank you, Susan. That is so incredible. Thank you. That means the world to me, and to everybody who got those. If you guys want to join the channel, hit the join button. You may have to go to your laptop or your actual PC to do it. I don't know if you can do it on your cell phone, but there's a join button on my YouTube channel, and become a member. I do put out exclusive content. I put out at least 1 video a week just for my members over there. So thank you, Susan. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate all the support. You guys were so generous with the super stickers today. Thank y'all so much. I have the best audience on the internet. I know y'all have a good audience over at Disclosure Now too, Arkheim and Brian, but I've got a really great audience over here.
No, your audience is awesome. I love coming on your show because that's part of the experience. Is just you have a great group that's following your work and always an awesome chat. So thank you to you guys, not just to you, Jessica, but also your followers. You've got a great team behind you.
I do. I have the best in the business. Okay, I do, and it really helps to have amazing co-hosts and guests like you two over here too. And y'all came on at the last minute today. I switched the show around, and we rocked it out tonight. We really did, and it's all because of y'all too. Okay, so thank y'all so much for being here, and yeah, let's do it again soon, guys. Okay, let's plan on it.
I'm not going to be on like next Thursday, right? We're doing a show.
Oh, actually, you know what? Next Thursday is Halloween, so we'll figure it out. I'll talk to you after the show. How about that?
Okay.
Because I do have to take my kid trick or treating on Thursday, so we can record. We may be recording a show for Thursday. Okay,
that works.
but we'll do it.
Have a great gig tonight, Arkheim. and bye, everybody. Thank you, Jessica.
Okay, everybody.
It was a
You
pleasure.
guys have a wonderful day. Let me close the show down. I'm trying to get these comments down. Yeah, you guys have a. Hold on, I got to get this off the screen. I've got too many things open. Yeah, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank y'all so much for being here, and come back and see me on Monday. I will be live on Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern on my channel. Oh, and I did want to mention, we're speaking about famous artists. I'm actually going to have one of my very good friends on our show next Saturday. We're going to be going on the hunt with none other than Dinko D of Leaders of the New School, that group from the 1990s with Busta Rhymes and Charlie Brown and Dinko. Dinko's a good friend of mine. He's got some really cool experiences to talk about, and he's going to be our guest on Saturday night. Dinko D of Leaders of the New School out of New York, by the way, will be here with us, and we'll be talking about a lot of interesting things. So y'all please tune in next Saturday night. Okay. All right. Okay, everybody. Have a great night. I will see you guys on Monday. All right. Bye, Arkheim. Bye, Brian. Thanks, y'all.